Hi there, welcome to the archives. So, there's a lot of conversation right now going on around Greenland, and I just saw a couple posts this morning from indigenous creators online reminding us that 80% of Greenland is indigenous folks, just like here in Canada or the United States or in South America. It's often native land. Just a reminder that I think somebody um, was it Sheena? Somebody I saw was reminding us that Greenland is over 80% Inuit folks. And so I thought we would return to Goddess, the 50 goddesses, spirits, and saints, and other female figures from around the world. And so I thought today we would focus on Sedna. Sedna is the Inuit mother of the sea and all its creatures. So this is the image we have for Sedna. So we're going to go to Greenland today. Okay? Greenland of the past, before Denmark and all of that colonization. We're going into indigenous territory. This is Sedna. So Sedna is said to be the mother of the sea, who is also known as Nuliayuk. Did I pronounce that properly? Nuliayuk or Taluliyuk. I don't know about you pronounce it how it's actually written. Sometimes things that are how you say it is not how, like, for instance, in Ghana, when we say Ewe, it's W-E, no, E-W-E, but it's actually V, right? So I don't know if this is how you say it, but Nuliayuk or Tululiyuk. And so Sedna is honored by the Inuit people who live in the northern Arctic lands. If you are unfamiliar with Inuit people, I think an Inuit is a collective. Inu is an individual person. So if you see like one individual person who is from the Inuit tribe, I believe they're called Innu, I-N-N-U. Um, there's a Canadian show which I love on you can get it you can watch it for free on CBC Gem. It's also on Netflix as well too. Is North of North. North of North is a Canadian comedy television series. It premiered on CBC. It's also on APTN and it's also on Netflix. Um, Anna Lamb plays Siaya, a young Inuk. Sorry, it's Inuk, not Inu. Inuk is an individual Inuk woman in the small fictional Canadian Arctic community in Ice Cove on Prince of Wales Island in Nunavut. So North of North covers Inuit culture. I really love it. It's beautiful visually. It's really funny. And again, it kind of gives you some exposure to Indigenous folks in the North who often we don't get to hear them telling their own stories, right? So I just wanted to put that out there. If you haven't watched North of North, definitely go stream it. It's worth the watch. I think it's so funny. It has been, there's a season two. I think there's one season. I believe it was picked up for another season, so I'm excited for the next season. But this is kind of where we're going. So, northern Arctic lands, ice cold, seals. Um, what are these animals called again? Warlocks? War something? So basically, she's a mother of the sea. Remember again, in African traditions, Mamiwata is the goddess of the waters. Oshun is the goddess of the river. Here, within the indigenous folks in the Northern Territories and in Greenland, Sedna is the mother of the sea, okay, and all of its creatures. And so basically, just like the other names, remember I said sometimes Oshun and Mamiwata can also be really um, the opposite, right? They could be cruel sometimes. They could use their water to flood. so on and so forth. Sedna is also similar. She can cause some trouble. She sometimes hides the animals that people need to survive. She might bring on a cruel storm. She might send sickness among people. So you got to be careful with Sedna, right? You don't want to cross her the wrong way. And I think in North of North, that's actually how it starts. She has a dream where she's in the water and she meets up with the goddess of the underworld. I'm not sure if she said Sedna. I got to go back and watch it, but you see basically that in the series, especially the first season, she's trying to find herself, right? And so often she sees, and so she's like, is there a shaman in our family? I need somebody to help me understand why I keep seeing this goddess. And so there are many versions of her story, but in Greenland, so again, we're going specifically to Greenland. In Greenland, they believe that Sedna was a beautiful young woman. She lived with her father. Her father's name was, again, don't hold me if I pronounce it wrong, Isarrataitsoq. Isarrataitsoq. Again, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing her father's name, but she lived with her father. All the local men wanted to marry Sedna. They thought she was so beautiful. And again, you see this beauty coming up across so many different cultures. Last week, I did a recording of Sarasvati. I'm gonna post it this weekend because I believe Lollapalooza is happening in India. So I'll post Sarasvati, but you see there that Brahma is like taken by her beauty, right? All of these goddesses are said to be beautiful. The men wanted to marry her, but she turned down the offers over and over and over again, right? Super picky. And then one day, a very handsome man came to promise her a wonderful new home. This time, Sedna was very charmed. So she's like, okay, let me say yes. But something wasn't quite right, right? Her new husband turned out to be a terrible bird spirit in disguise. And so soon she realized that his house in the ocean was not wonderful at all, right? She felt trapped. She was always hungry. She had to wrap herself around in slimy fish skins to keep warm. She was cold down there. She cried out across the sea for her father. And so her father came to her rescue when he discovered how her new husband was treating her. And so basically, her father tried to bring her home in her kayak, but her husband found out that her father was coming to rescue her. And so he was furious, right? Her husband was furious. He was an angry bird spirit. He followed them. He whipped up the sea with his wings. He created a violent storm. He attacked the boat. And in a panic, her Sedna's father, he cruelly threw her into the icy water to lighten the load. Again, I didn't realize that this was a story from Sedna, because if you watch North of North, you actually see that episode where her own husband throws her off the boat as well too when he goes hunting. I didn't realize that that was part of her story. So her father throws her off the boat. She's hanging onto the boat for her dear life. She's clinging to the side of the boat. The storm is raging all around her. The waters are whirling. She's just like, it's chaos, right? And so her husband is not stopping. He's attacking her. Her father's trying to peel his daughter's hand from the boat. She's gripping so tight. So he takes a paddle and hits her hand so she can release it, right? And the first blow, it cracks her fingertips. They fall into the sea, and her fingers turn into seals. Turns into a seal. But she still's holding on. Then he lashes out again, and this time the rest of her fingers splash into the water, and they turn into the walrus. And so this is again this origin story. You see how seals are created. You see how the walrus is created. And so basically, her father's last blow, it cuts her hands off completely. She falls back into the she falls back from the boat. Her hands touch the sea, and they become a whale. So if you see the creation story for the whale, she sinks to the bottom of her ocean. Her long black hair, like you see, she's long, beautiful black hair. Um, Her long black hair wraps around her in the water, and here Sedna becomes the mother of the underwater kingdom, along with all the all the creatures that had come from her body. So the seal, the walrus, the whale, she becomes mother to all of them. And so she's an incredibly important figure in the Inuit. Among the Inuit, she holds the sea creatures tangled in her hair. She can keep families alive with her kindness. When she decides to release animals for hunting, sometimes if she's angry, she'll hold on to them, causing people to starve. And so during times of hunger, spiritual leaders perform complicated rituals. I hope that in Greenland right now, they're turning to their ancestors, they're doing the divinations. Sedna right now would be a really good time to turn to for assistance against this attack from the United States. Um, but basically, they do the spiritual elders, they perform complicated rituals, they have special chants where they dive into her home in the bottom of the ocean, they comb her long black hair, and they ask for help. Okay, so I hope folks are diving to ask her for help right now. They believe that Sedna will only let the animals go when a shaman visits or she is giving offerings. So pour some libations for Sedna right now, okay? Pour some libations for Sedna. Ask her for some strength. Continue to obviously organize and protest and do all of the things that need to be done. But also don't forget the spiritual elements, right? Um, I was listening to Mia Motley on Trevor Noah's podcast yesterday, and she talks about the spiritual component, right? Faith is also really important. And you see that through history, especially with Amelie Damso's story, where before the Haitians decided to revolt and use resistance, and even during, they did turn to the ancestors, right? So you see that across a lot of cultures. Even Boudica, remember Boudica's story in England, in England and Wales and all that? Boudica, she was a pagan. She turned to the ancestors, right? She went to the goddess of the hares, and she was like, "What do we do?" And just like the ancestors told the Haitians to fight, the ancestors, their foremothers and forefathers told Boudica's folks fight back, right? And so you see that even within politics, even within resistance movement, that a lot of folks who are more spiritual leaning, who have a strong root in their faith, will turn to some of these folks. And so basically it says that when summer arrives, the Inuit sing songs to her. When the first sea mammals are caught in the hunt, they are cut into parts and placed in the water as gifts to her. As mother of the sea, she has great power over life and death, and it is essential to the Inuit people of the Arctic North. So I thought it would be important to share Sedna's story since Sedna is in here, right? So again, this is Sedna. You see the whales, you see the seals. Um, Pour some libations, okay? Pour some libations for Sedna. Say her name. Don't forget to invoke some of these ancestral spirits during these times, during these difficult times, okay? So this is Sedna, the Inuit mother of the sea and all its creations. And she's especially revered in Greenland. Don't forget that Greenland is native territory, it is native land. It is the folks of the original inhabitants are the Inuit people who are still there today. All right. I think I saw today that Greenland is primarily broken into like three regional. It was like West Greenland, East, and North, I believe. So I just thought I would share Sedna today. Okay. So we're gonna do. I'm gonna post this today. There are some other indigenous folks. I might get into some of them today. So that is Sedna. Look forward to some more videos. Okay. So we're gonna continue with Goddess. 50 goddesses, spirits, and saints, and other female figures from around the world who have shaped belief. It's written by Dr. Janina Ramirez, and it's illustrated by Sarah Walsh. All right, so until next time, in solidarity.